A state of emergency announced as thousands of fire crews fight wildfires across California, and where San Diego firefighters have been deployed to help.
There's no turn signals in highways on the water, and you don't need an operator's license. So if you can buy a boat, you can drive it.
We know about the rules of the road, but what about the rules on the water? The new law covering people who want to operate boats in California.
They're becoming increasingly popular in recent years, and I think what's driving the market is that people are becoming more aware of their health.
Technology may be the answer to an age-old problem: how to get a better night's rest. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. Democratic Congressman Juan Vargas is hosting a town hall tonight on immigration. Vargas represents California's 51st Congressional District, which includes southern section of San Diego County, as well as Imperial County and the entire California-Mexico border. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy has more from Sherman Heights. Susan?
Immigration has been one of the most divisive issues since President Trump took office. And tonight, Congressman Juan Vargas has invited his constituents, along with a panel of immigration experts, to talk about people's rights. And the congressman joins me now. Congressman, tell us what prompted tonight's meeting.
Well, unfortunately, fear in the community. A lot of people were asking, what can they do if they get deported? What happens to their children? What are my rights? And they don't know. And they hear such horrible stories of mothers being pulled away from their children. So they want to know what rights they have. And that's why we're having this tonight.
What other concerns are you hearing from your constituents regarding the latest policies under the Trump administration?
Well, they want to know, really, are they going aggressively after people that don't have a criminal record? So you hear that the Trump administration saying we're going after murderers, rapists, people like that. And yet at the same time, you hear that the people who are getting deported are moms and dads. And the reason they're getting deported is because they were deported before, and now they're trying to reunify with their kids, and they want to know, is that why they're deporting us? I mean, I thought they were going after murderers. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a rapist. Why are they deporting me?
And so what are you hoping that people will get out of this meeting tonight?
I hope they ask very direct questions. We have the experts here today to give them answers. So I told them, you're here, ask the questions you really have on your heart. What rights do you have? What rights don't you have? What can you do? What can't you do? What are your expectations? They ought to ask these questions. I know they have them. I know they ask me, and I know some of them, but the reality is we have expert immigration lawyers here that can talk to them.
Okay, and tell us about some of these experts. You have lawyers, you said, and advocates, and...
That's right. So we have people from the ACLU, we have immigration officers, we have other experts in the field. So we have people that have practical experience working with immigrants and undocumented people so they can get their answers, get answers to the questions they have.
Okay, and lastly, Congressman, you also have some legislation underway. Tell us about, briefly, we have about, a couple of seconds left.
Well, sure.
What are some
deported
of your...
veterans. A lot of these veterans get deported over little things, and they didn't know this. The guy has 110 combat missions. He comes back with PTSD. He needs services, and what do you get instead? He gets deported to Mexico, a country that he hasn't seen since he's a little kid. That's not right. We have a bill to correct that, to say, no, if you're a serviceman or servicewoman, if you have served in the military, you have these don't deport them, give them help.
Okay. Congressman, thank you. And reporting live from Sherman Heights, Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
Thanks, Susan. School officials are considering mediation versus punishment. Tomorrow, the San Diego Unified School Board will decide whether to adopt a new conflict resolution policy. KPBS City Heights reporter Taryn Minto says the board is set to vote on a community drafted plan.
The School Climate Bill of Rights would entitle students to restorative practices. That's a process that encourages educators and students to address disputes through communication instead of expulsion or suspension, which research shows disproportionately affects students of color. The San Diego County Office of Education's Anthony Ceja trains educators and administrators in the practice. He says it can make students feel more connected to their school, which can keep them out of trouble.
Kids, when they don't feel connected in the school, when they begin to feel completely disconnected, they go out and find somewhere where they will connect. and a lot of times that's in the streets.
The proposal comes from community members and students working with the City Heights-based nonprofit Mid-City Community Advocacy Network. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
San Diego State University has a new president. Sally Roush is the first woman to lead the school. She takes over for Elliot Hirschman, who left the job for a job in Maryland. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson sat down with Roush recently to talk about the school, the football team, and the school's expansion onto the Qualcomm Stadium site.
If you were here the day the Chancellor introduced me and announced my appointment, what he made clear is that I'm president of the university in an interim capacity. And he said that because he wanted to be everyone to be clear that there was no limitation on the role of the president. And I think that is an important distinction to make.
The university has expressed an interest in that Qualcomm Stadium site. What are you looking for there? What is the objective for San Diego State University?
The objective there, beyond the immediate need for a football stadium, which I think everyone's very clear about, is to have the opportunity to develop the asset there in conjunction with the city of San Diego into something that's a real community, region-wide asset for the educational opportunities for future students of the university. There's a higher good to be achieved there if the university is part of the development to expand our growth over the decades to come. We don't think in terms of 2 or 3 years on something like this. We think in terms of the 120 years that we've already been a university and the next 120.
You mentioned the Aztec football team, and their future is a little bit squishy beyond 2018 when their lease at Qualcomm expires. What are the options there?
Well, option number one is for the city to come back to the table and extend our lease. That is a primary objective of mine, is to get that lease extended. Secondarily, we want the lease extended for a sufficient period of time, probably 2 years is sufficient, to actually build a stadium. In order to do that, we need to work with the city to identify a location on the site where we can move forward with the stadium construction, while the rest of the issues around the future use of the site are resolved.
The FS Investors ballot initiative is scheduled to be on the ballot in November of 2018. Can you take action before then to do something with the Qualcomm site?
We think that we can initiate a process whereby a plan could be activated once the initiative vote occurs and is resolved. If the initiative passes, it's a very different kind of scenario. If the initiative fails, we have the opportunity now to have something in play or developed to the point that it could be fairly quickly after that we could finalize it. It could be something that could be finalized before and only activated if the initiative were to fail. So there are a variety of ways to approach it. And again, we need to be able to get into a dialogue with the various aspects of the city that help us understand what their preference is so that we can be prepared to respond to that.
Is the potential for a partnership with FS Investors still possible?
No.
No, unequivocally no.
Not under the current provisions of the initiative.
You talk about having these relationships at the city. The city is not a monolith. There are different interests within the city of San Diego. So are we talking about relationships with the council? Are we talking about relationships with the mayor?
We need good relationships with all of the entities at the city. The council and the mayor are the two most, singularly identifiable, but there are city departments that also would need to be involved, and with whom in the past, real estate assets, for example, we've had a good relationship when we were a tenant at Qualcomm. So those relationships are important. We have been working to establish and build those. I've recently met with several of the city council members myself. So we're working on that. That's very important.
We're speaking with San Diego State University President Sally Roush. Sally, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Sandag is under scrutiny. The San Diego Association of Governments is the target of a reform bill making its way through the state legislature. Critics say that Sandag is undemocratic. Supporters say the agency works just fine the way it is. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen takes a look at how Sandag compares to its peers, other transportation agencies across the state.
What is the supposed problem with Sandag that the reform bill in Sacramento is trying to fix? Essentially, it has to do with representation. Big city versus small town, urban versus rural. This debate goes back to the founding of our country. The voting structure at Sandag's board of directors is complex, to say the least. Opponents of the reform bill, called AB 805, say the current system fosters collaboration and consensus. The bill's author, Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, counters that officials representing a minority of the county's population have veto power over decisions that would benefit the majority.
You haven't had many people in leadership that represent kind of the majority of the folks who live in the county. And so I think that that becomes problematic in some of the decisions that are made when you're talking about where transportation dollars are being spent and what they're being spent on.
Transportation in California is planned by a patchwork of different organizations, and Sandag is unique in a couple of ways. Stuart Cohen of the nonprofit group Transform says one important distinction is the amount of land it controls.
Because Sandag is county-based, to some extent they're able to have a little bit more power than some of the other agencies that cover multiple counties. And that's because they're able to help deliver and administer a sales tax for transportation, as they currently do.
Well, that tax is called Transnet, and it was renewed by voters in 2004. Taxing authority is something other transportation agencies do not have. To read more about how Sandag compares to its peers across California, go to kpbs.org. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Coming up tonight on PBS NewsHour, a look at how faith mixed with politics plays out in Russia. For the Orthodox Church, blurring the lines creates pride, patriotism, and optimism for the country and President Putin.
He is a religious man, and he takes part in the divine worship with the people in churches. What the president is doing, what the government is doing, of course we support it, because he acts conscientiously and truthfully.
And a look at the battle over Mosul between Iraq's government and the Islamic State. That's tonight on PBS NewsHour, starting at 7, right here on KPBS. A brush fire near Rainbow Valley Boulevard burned about 1.5 acres today. This is in the far northern part of the county along Interstate 15. At least 2 lanes of freeway were closed. Crews made quick progress, though, getting about 80% of the fire contained by this afternoon. Several crews from the San Diego region have been sent north to help battle a wildfire in San Luis Obispo County. The Alamo fire grew about 45 square miles over the weekend. It's the largest, at least burning 14 across the state. Egged on by a record-breaking heat, departments all over the county sent engine crews, including Alpine, Santee, Chula Vista, Coronado, and the city of San Diego. About 40 miles south, the Whittier fire has burned about 12 square miles on both sides of Highway 154, threatening hundreds of homes and forcing evacuations at a popular lakeside campground and summer camp. North of Sacramento, the Wall Fire in Butte County has pushed Governor Jerry Brown to declare a state of emergency. At about 35% contained, the fire has burned nearly 10 square miles. Thousands of homes have been evacuated.
This past couple weeks has really seen an increase in the number of fires. And again, it's going to depend on Mother Nature and what she hands to us later in the fall and getting closer to winter on how long it is going to last. The past few years with the drought conditions, we've had some very, very long and arduous fire seasons. So with all those conditions from the drought from the past 5 years, all the very dry vegetation out there, that's going to be something that we're going to have to contend with.
CAL FIRE says so far this season, about 2,900 fires have burned in the state, up from about 2,300 at this time last year and covering about double the acreage. Forecasters say high tides will hit the San Diego coast. Gray skies in Ocean Beach today. You can see lifeguards diving in as part of their training on the Ocean Pier. Jeff Cornish has more on the high surf advisory in tonight's forecast.
A high surf advisory is in effect through Tuesday across the beaches and along the beaches. We have large waves and rip currents, a concern due to stronger breezes. So be careful out there if you're a surfer or if you're going to be swimming. It will turn a little less hot through the middle of the week, just losing a few degrees from our highs compared to where we had been. And there's a little action on radar, believe it or not. Some isolated showers across parts of the Los Angeles area, mainly to the north. These are most common really in the mountains. Also a little bit of action in the high ground east of Las Vegas. So some, not too far away, are seeing some rainfall. Tonight, though, we expect to be dry with low clouds and fog, and temperatures will get down to near 70 degrees. Overnight lows still warm in the inland areas, especially Borrego Springs, 78 degrees there. But Ramona is on track for a low around 63 or so. San Diego, 70, your expected low tonight. Tuesday, we're still hot across the deserts of the southwest, and that includes us just east of the city. But in the southern part of the Rockies and into some of the higher elevations of the deserts, spotty thunderstorms will be forming out there into Tuesday afternoon, similar to today. We'll see that again day after day. High temperatures on Tuesday, still a hot 107 in Borrego Springs. At least it's not as hot as it was a couple of weeks ago, but still pretty toasty out there. And into areas like the city, 79, Oceanside, a nice 81, a nice summer day there. And we're going to be dealing with more heat here for the next few days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, still hot in the southwest, but still scattered storms will be forming on a daily basis into the higher elevations. So we're looking a little bit more monsoon-like. We're not quite there yet, but we're making progress in that direction in the southwestern U.S. By the way, stormy Thursday and Friday in the northeastern U.S. if you happen to be traveling or if you have family there. It may be of interest. So the forecast for the coast, we're hovering near 80 plus or minus a couple of degrees. A little cooler Thursday and Friday. A mix of sunshine and some occasional clouds, mainly in the morning. Inland areas are still hovering between 90 and 92. Lows will get down into the mid-60s, maybe a small step cooler Wednesday night. Into the mountains, there we are between 80, then we'll ramp back up to 87. Maybe a storm on Saturday in the mountains. And into the deserts, there we are, 107 to 109. Pretty steamy still. I'm Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
Currently in California, anyone can hop in a boat and go without any training. This will all change come January when a new law goes into effect requiring licenses for boaters. But the law leaves out renters who often have the least boating experience. KPBS reporter Claire Tragesser has the story.
Right here, I will turn on the boat and it'll start up. Mine is a low idle, so I have to turn it on and then put this throttle up.
Calvin Pedroli likes to take his small motorboat out from the San Diego Yacht Club with his friends.
Right in this area where we are is called La Playa.
He's been driving boats since he was a kid.
With my dad, we had a boat that would break down all the time.
Much longer than he's been able to drive.
It's definitely different than driving a car because you have to think about drift, because when you turn, it's going to have the boat slide a little bit. Also, you have to think about wind, because that's going to affect you. You're going to move differently, and current.
Pedroli is 17, and while he's been boating his whole life without a license, that will soon change. In January, a new California law will require everyone under 20 who drives a boat with a motor to get a license. The law will gradually phase in until 2025, when all boaters in the state will need a boating card. California is one of just 5 states that currently doesn't require any license to boat, though some states only have requirements for people under 18. The state also has the biggest coastline in the country and is among the top 5 states for number of registered boats, according to data from the U.S. Coast Guard. So it's maybe not surprising that last year, California had more boating accidents than any other state besides Florida. According to the Coast Guard, 77% of deaths last year occurred on boats where the operator did not receive any boating instruction.
So the class today is about boating safely.
On a recent Saturday morning at the Chula Vista Marina, a group of boating students gathered for a class.
It covers the real basics of boating safety. It meets the requirements for getting a California boater card.
At the end, they took a test, and if they passed, they got their boating license. Applicants can also take the test online.
But there are different types of propulsion.
The teacher, Bill Anderson, is with the Coast Guard Auxiliary and says he thinks the licenses will help with safety.
If you want to drive a car, you have to have classroom instruction and take a test. You have to get hours behind the wheel, and you have to drive it for a performance test.
And boating is more complicated than driving, he says.
There's no turn signals in highways on the water, and you don't need an operator's license. So if you can buy a boat, you can drive it.
But the new law has a hole in it. If you own a boat or drive a friend's boat, you'll need a license. However, if you rent a boat, you won't need a license.
For tourists who come here to San Diego, it's really nice, and you can rent a boat and go, but you still don't know anything about it. And we joke because we've overheard people renting a 20-foot boat to go out for the day and ask where the gas pedal is. And there is none on a boat.
A majority of the boat accidents in the U.S. last year happened on boats that weren't rented, according to the Coast Guard. But still, local boaters worry.
I go out on the bay, I go out on the ocean with my friends and with my family, and it would be nice to know that everybody is at least doing the minimum.
Andy Kurtz is the last person you'd expect to want requirements for boat renters.
So we're gearing up for one of the busiest weekends of the year.
He owns Seaforth Boat Rentals in San Diego.
Before my hair was gray, I used to make it gray by worrying that we would have mandatory boat licensing in California because I thought that would negatively impact our business.
So anyone who wants to drive will have to go over the safety with us.
Asking boaters to get a license ruins the spontaneity of being on vacation and deciding to rent a boat.
Know what any safety equipment is. The guys down at the dock will show you. Just make sure you're paying attention to them.
But Kurt still wants required education for boat renters.
Remember to stay at least 150 feet away from any land at all times.
Kurtz's employees give safety briefings to all boat renters, both in the store and again on the dock. But not all boat renters give instructions to their customers. Kurtz would have liked those briefings to be required under the new law.
We do everything that we can to make sure that our customers have as much knowledge as they possibly can in the short amount of time that's allotted, that they can operate that boat safely.
I'm always on the water, so I'm definitely comfortable now.
For boaters like Calvin Pedroli, that safety comes from education and practice.
Definitely starting, it's kind of scary knowing that you have full control of a prop in the back and you're on the water and stuff, but I was pretty comfortable with it at the start because I was my grandpa and my dad.
After learning from his family how to captain a boat, he now has no problem being out alone on the water. And he's pretty sure he'll ace his test in time to get his boating license by January. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
An increasing number of companies are marketing devices and apps to track and improve how we sleep. But AP reporter Terry Che says the jury is still out on whether better tech is leading to better Z's.
So Dream is basically a headband that you put on your head.
This tech startup wants to help solve an age-old problem: how to get a better night's sleep. Paris-based Rhythm recently started selling a wearable device called Dream. It uses sensors to analyze brain activity and plays soothing sounds.
Using sounds and doing like rhythmic stimulation, we can basically modulate the rhythm of the brain in order to get more deep sleep.
Rhythm is one of a growing number of companies using the latest sleep science to develop devices and apps to help track and improve your slumber. Retailers such as Best Buy now sell a variety of sleep tech devices, including a baby sleep monitor that clips onto a diaper and a Philips lighting system to control the brightness and color of light.
Sleep devices and sleep technologies are doing great. They're becoming increasingly popular in recent years, and I think what's driving the market is that people are becoming more aware of their health.
Sleep Number just launched its 360 smart bed, which automatically adjusts to your movements.
So you attach the sensor to the foot.
Utah-based Owlet makes a smart sock that monitors your baby's sleep.
And it looks at heart rate, temperature, and motion to try to determine if the baby is healthy, how well they're sleeping, and it will alert the parents if there's something wrong.
It's a research study. But how reliable are these gadgets? Stanford University has been testing sleep tech devices and comparing them to professional monitoring equipment used in its sleep lab. Dr. Cleet Kushida says most consumer systems still don't measure sleep very accurately, but the technology is advancing rapidly.
I view it as
as a good thing, just because it increases general awareness about sleep and the potential for sleep disorders.
But Dr. Kushida cautions against using the devices to help solve a sleep problem.
So this is my nightly sleep score.
For Frank Ribbage, a self-described gadget junkie, it's all about getting enough sleep. It's why he tracks his Z's and uses a smart pillow that plays music and vibrates when you snore.
I'm willing to spend more on sleep technology because it will hopefully help me fall asleep quicker, stay asleep longer, and be more rested when I wake up.
You know, get you the best sleep possible.
But it can be a tough market. The San Francisco startup behind Sense, a sleep tracking system sold at Best Buy, recently announced it's shutting down. Still, as consumers wake up to the importance of sleep, more companies recognize its value as a business. Terry Che, Associated Press, San Francisco.
Here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. On Morning Edition, following up on AP test results that were invalidated by the College Board, the new legal challenge filed by San Diego Unified. And on Midday Edition, conquering the college admissions essay in 10 steps. The author who says why the essay should be treated like a job interview. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.